You are Locked On Wolves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
T-Wolves erasing an 18-point deficit only to crumble in the waning seconds as this one ended. They fall to the Suns in Phoenix in cup play, by the way, 114-113. That's your final. They dropped to 10-6 now on the year. What's going on? Back in the lab. Back at it. Another T-Wolves postcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, which, thanks to you guys, now the #1 sports podcast network. That's Jack Borman, Wolves expert, NBA expert. Give him a follow on X at JRBorman13. I'm Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. And make sure to follow our guy, Ben Beacon, host of the Locked On Timberwolves show. And like and subscribe. Find all the video, by the way, on the Locked On Wolves YouTube channel. And, of course, all the audio wherever you find your podcast. Lots to get into here, Jack. Player of the game, biggest turning point, what we'll be talking about, our biggest second guess from this one as well. But first, just off the top, just to kind of set the stage, this was a juicy draw for some Friday night NBA action, if you will. You got two red-hot teams duking it out in the in-season tournament play, both winners of 6 of their last 7, both teams undefeated in cup play, by the way, heading into this one. And, of course, when it comes to head-to-head, Wolves on this crazy 8-game winning streak against Phoenix as well. So a lot of juice in the building, a lot of energy, and just some, as a fan of basketball, just some highly entertaining basketball being played tonight. A Wolves rally all the way back in the second half. A lot thanks to Anthony Edwards, which we'll get into. But then, Jack, credit for the Suns. I mean, I can't wait for your kind of 2 cents and knee-jerk reaction here in a second, but just kind of grinding the Wolves down in the final minutes and just pulling off the obviously game-winning shot with just seconds left on the clock. So still winless against teams above 500, 0-6, but maybe you can walk us through the final minute and then kind of good segue into your big picture reaction just to kick things off.
Yeah, I think, for the Wolves, I mean, had a chance really to kind of put your hands around and grab the wheel on controlling your own destiny into the quarterfinals of the Cup, right? Wolves came in 2-0 plus 54 in point differential in Cup play. That was the best in the NBA by 25 points. And it was just a tough time for the Wolves to kind of lose their focus. I mean, the Suns are hungry too, right? They're now 2-0 in Cup play, and they have a plus 23 differential. So I think for the Wolves, obviously, if the Wolves go out and they beat Oklahoma City, they're in. So they still control their own destiny, and that's going to be an awesome game. But it would have been really nice to seal a game when Jaden McDaniels very clearly playing injured with that left wrist. He was in a lot of pain and remembered midair on a dunk that he needed to only use his right hand, and had a few layups throughout the night that got blocked or were altered significantly because he tried to use his right hand instead of his left hand in situations where we've clearly seen him use his left hand all night long. So, just a really, really tough night for the Wolves to lose focus in the last 50 seconds, allowing a 9-0 run, especially without Devin Booker on the floor. And I mean, the other part of it too, Timberwolves' 2 best players missed 7 free throws tonight, and they each had a turnover as part of that final minute meltdown. And that's just it's really tough for both of your stars to obviously they had bright spots in that fourth quarter, but you look at the totality of the game, it's hard to defend those guys and in those spots after those types of miscues.
Obviously we got a lot of sour stuff to get into after a loss like that. So we might as well just start with some positives and hand out some flowers. Player of the game coming up.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I don't know. Some nights are easier than others for this one, obviously. I guess when you got Anthony Edwards on your team, those nights become a little bit more frequent. Would have loved to see those free throws drop at the end, but still carried the team back kind of into this game in the third quarter after a big deficit early on.
Yeah, I mean, for Ant, it's his 26th career 40-point game. Yeah. 4 of them have come against the Suns. That's his most against any team. All 4 of them have been in Phoenix, funny enough. But yeah, I think, it was obviously nice to see Ant shoot the 3-ball a little bit better. Came into tonight 3 of his last 32 from 3, dating back to that most recent game against the Jazz. Made his first attempt of each half, which I think got him off to a good start and kind of helped get him into a rhythm, especially in that third quarter. But I mean, for Anthony Edwards, you have a chance to, at worst, put yourself in a situation where your team's going to overtime, right? And make up for a brutal turnover, late on that kind of corner inbounds pass to DiVincenzo, and comes to the line and misses 2 free throws. And like I said, he and Randall combined for 7 missed free throws, and it's just pretty indefensible. And I think the other part with Ant too, I thought his energy in the first half was not very good. In kind of the last 8 minutes of the first quarter, and then the early part of the second quarter before the Wolves went on the run. I just thought that he was way too passive. He didn't move the Suns defense enough. And then, to his credit, I think got off the ball, did a good job of finding his outlets, and then splitting doubles I thought was really good, kind of reminiscent of that series against the Grizzlies a few years back when he kind of first came onto the scene. But I think for Ant, it's pretty difficult to sit up here and try to defend a 41-point game from Ant when he let this game slip through the way that he did. And we got to hold Ant to a pretty darn high standard, because if he wants to be kind of one of those ones, I think there's nights where he's had 2 really rough games in a row and comes back with a much better performance tonight, but kind of wipes it all away with 2 missed free throws and a turnover in the final minute, in a game you lose by 1, in a game that means a lot more than a standard regular season game. And I think these are the types of games you look back at in April when Wolves are fighting for playoff positioning, when other teams may be sitting guys or who knows what, but it's just tough that your best players kind of let you down in the biggest moments in a game like tonight.
Yeah,
after doing all the work to get there and put yourself in a position where you're up 8 with 49 seconds left.
Right. I was going to tee up for the biggest turning point, Jack. There probably was 2-3 good avenues we could have went after a victory, or what we assumed, the Wolves could hold on to an 8-point lead with a minute and change to go. So in lieu of this gut-wrenching loss, how about we get into what we're second guessing the most, I guess, after this.
Since hindsight is always 20/20, let's deliver today's second guess.
Biggest second guess, Jack. Easy to say in hindsight, as always, I know, but who or what, I guess, is the thing you really want back right now?
Yeah, I think if I'm the Timberwolves, what I really want back is the fact that Jalen Clark has been your best defender on the perimeter by a mile all season long, and he was not out there on the final possession. And that's not a slight against Dante DiVincenzo. I thought Dante DiVincenzo didn't play, bad defense. It was still a tough mid-range shot that Colin Gillespie hit in that final minute. But I think Jalen Clark should have been out there. And I also think that the Timberwolves probably could have gone offense, defense a little bit better in that last minute. I think that Mike Conley is a guy that you'd really like to have in those types of situations, just as a guy that can be a voice on the floor, get everybody to just kind of calm down when things really kind of got out of control in a major way. And I think whether it was Ant trying to do that, Julius trying to do that, there just wasn't enough communication. I think the Timberwolves, right after makes, they just tried to inbound the ball as quickly as possible instead of trying to, kind of use the full 5 seconds to just kind of mentally reset and figure things out. So I think those 2 things are what stands out to me immediately right after the game. In terms of other things that happened throughout the night, I think there's probably some things that you can poke and prod at. But those 2 decisions, I think for Chris Finch, he'll probably be regretting over the course of the night. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that it's fair to put this game on Chris Finch, considering that Anthony Edwards had 2 free throws to make it a 3-point game with 11 seconds left. And, he's not in Anthony Edwards' head throwing an inbounds pass to the corner to Dante DiVincenzo really lazily, or, Julius Randle panicking with the ball in his hands and turning it over in the final minute either. So, I think you can maybe talk about the fact that the Wolves, called a time, didn't, waited until the 18-second mark to call a timeout when things were unraveling a little bit earlier. Like if I were Chris Finch, I probably would have called a timeout. I don't know. I don't know that that's fair to say. After that, one of the Royce O'Neal or
are you doing okay, dude?
There,
are you just? Is this hurt? Dude, a lot of season left, man. It's a gauntlet. All right.
Yeah, I mean
It's raw right now. I know it's raw.
The
And that
cup
was
just
a
means
brutal
more,
loss.
Luke. The cup
I
just
get it.
means more.
I get it. I'm going to give you a couple minute breather here. Plenty more to dive into, including DDV, Dante DiVincenzo's kind of odd off night, plus what we'll be talking about tomorrow. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Monarch Money. Ever go check your bank account and go, where'd my money go? Dining out, online shopping, entertainment. So easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Not just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, your spending. It's all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and instead you start building some wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. You're getting 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your entire first year. This episode also brought to us by Prize Picks, without a doubt. Most fun I have playing daily fantasy. You can win up to 25 times your money this NBA season. And why I love it, so easy to play. All you got to do, you select 2 or more players. You pick more or less on their projected stats. It's that easy. Points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers, you name it, they got it. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay as well. Quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Right now, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA. You're getting a first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code LockedOnNBA at prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. 100% bonus match up to $100. Last but certainly not least, this episode also brought to you by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you gotta, might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. They're changing the game by turning your rent into things you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points. Those points, they can be redeemed for hotels, airlines, future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, you name it, they got it. Turn your rent into rewards and start making points around your neighborhood. Go to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the link so they know we sent you. Just real quick, Jack, before we get into what we'll be talking about, a few quick hitters I just want to run by. I guess number one, DDV, Dante DiVincenzo. I know people are going to look at the box score tomorrow, 2 for 9, 9 points, see kind of a little bit of an off night, maybe a stinker to some degree, but was there more, I guess, that you saw, more to the story as far as like where he struggled and what else maybe might have contributed to again, just kind of a below average performance and maybe anything he did bring to the table. And then just real quick, number 2, the offensive rebounding just felt very problematic tonight as well. Did it feel that way to you as well? And I guess what kind of impact did that have on the final outcome?
Yeah, for sure. Starting with Dante, I mean, this is kind of the funny part about, doing a live show right away after these games is, kind of I guess the tone of the outline that I have here is a little bit different than it would have been had Colin Gillespie missed a shot there. But yeah, I thought that, part of why Dante struggled in this game was because Anthony Edwards was extremely passive in the early going in this game. Like I said earlier, he didn't try to move the defense enough with, cutting off the ball or getting off the ball and coming and getting it back. I think it was just a lot of dribbling without much of a purpose for Ant. And then because he was doing a lot of that into the slot, Dante DiVincenzo had to move from the slot to the top of the key and then was resetting things with, pick and roll with Rudy, and just didn't look quite as comfortable with all the ball pressure that the Suns were throwing at the Timberwolves in the first half of this game. And so I think, that's kind of what we saw at the early part of this season when Dante was starting, when he was kind of the main handler before they gave the point guard keys to Ant once he returned from injury. No, Dante had 0 points, missed all 4 of his shots in the first half. But I really enjoyed the way that Dante kind of poured all of his energy into the defensive end of the floor. And ironically, did a great job of shutting his former Villanova teammate, Colin Gillespie, shutting his water off for the majority of that second half. And then once his number was called on the offensive end of the floor, made, the 2 biggest shots of the night from 3 in that fourth quarter, threw a couple of lobs up to Rudy Gobert, one that, obviously he finished off, the other one resulted in a foul. So I think just the way that he was able to mentally stay in it and be a really important guy for the Timberwolves all night long and play an important role in their comeback. I don't necessarily blame Dante at all for for the defensive effort that he played on that last possession. I think Colin Gillespie got to a spot where he was able to have a decent look at it and make it, but yeah, I think it was more just about Finch putting him in that position instead of having Jalen Clark out there. But then as it pertains to the offensive rebounding, I mean, Phoenix came into this game offensive rebound rate just under 35%, which is tremendous. This is fifth in the NBA, and tonight ended up with 15 offensive rebounds for 25 second chance points. Just way too many for the Wolves to allow, especially when you consider that Nas has been much better on the glass of late, especially, but he only had 2 rebounds in his 25 minutes. And Rudy had 12 rebounds. I thought Rudy was tremendous on the glass, but the fact that no one else had more than 5 rebounds in this game. Jaden 5, Julius 5, Ant 5. I think you just got to find more. I mean, Jalen Clark had 3 rebounds in 8 minutes. Gave some good effort there, but I think again, when you have a team like the Suns and you have guys like Mark Williams is a tremendous offensive rebounder. Nick Richards is a tremendous offensive rebounder. Iguodaro is a really solid offensive rebound, but the reality is too, I mean, think about how many times the Suns just had grenades at the end of the shot clock, and whether it was Brooks taking a bad shot, Booker taking a really tough shot, and they just had guards crashing the glass to come and create second chance opportunities. I mean, Jordan Goodwin tonight, 4 offensive rebounds at the guard spot. I think got to give him a lot of credit too, the way that he battled in there. But for the Wolves, I mean, the guards have to be more intentional about finding guys in corner crashes and just not overcommitting to jump shooters, especially when guys have them in a bad way on the defensive end of the floor.
Let's get into what we'll be talking about tomorrow morning. Sure, we could go a couple different directions.
This is what you'll be talking about.
I mean, you can take it whatever way you want. I would love to, I know we only got about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, just to touch on Robbie D, Mr. Dillingham, starting to catch maybe a little momentum here off the bench. It kind of feels like to me anyways, or it would seem. A, do you agree with that? And B, what do you think? Just think about the ripple effect down the line. What would things look like against once my guy Terrence Shannon Jr. gets healthy? And both of them are an option for Finchy, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, I think the main what we'll be talking about for sure is just the meltdown. The Wolves now 0-6 against teams above 500. But what I was gonna throw in there just as a thing to leave people with is Terrence Shannon was expected to be reevaluated today. Obviously, he's dealing with that bone bruise in his left foot. He has not been wearing a boot. He's had a wrap around his left foot that we've seen when we've seen TJ in the locker room and just about at Target Center. But I do think it was unfortunate that Rob Dillingham didn't get a crack in that second half. And I didn't think Mike Conley played poorly by any means. I thought Mike was solid in the second half, but I thought Rob was really good in that first half. And I think, the more that he's been playing the last couple of games, which I think is noteworthy, is he's been playing more minutes with Anthony Edwards. And I think that's something that he really didn't do in the first 10, 12 games of the season. And it's something he's doing more in the last couple. And I think he looks more confident and comfortable out there, playing alongside Ant instead of playing in those lineups that have, 4 bench guys plus Rudy or 4 bench guys plus Julius. So I think for Finch, it's going to be interesting to see, how he weighs Rob Dillingham as the 9th or 10th guy versus Terrence Shannon as the 9th or 10th guy once TJ comes back, because I think TJ could be back middle of next week potentially, maybe next weekend when the Wolves are home for a couple of games. So it's just going to be an interesting decision that Finch has in front of him. But nonetheless, it was good to see Rob play well. Made a couple of long jumpers that we've been kind of pining for him to be able to make. So if there's one positive, hopefully it's that Rob can keep piecing things together and play at a much more replacement level rate, and then hopefully be able to build on that and see more of the talent that he has off the dribble and as a playmaker.
Great stuff per usual. T-Wolves with an absolute just gut punch of a loss, giving this one back to the Suns in the final minute, turning a what should have been a win into a loss, 114-113. That's your final tonight. 10-6 now on the year. Much love to all you guys, though, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us. Chat's blowing up right now from game to game. Like and subscribe, please, if you haven't already. And go follow Jack at JR Borman13. We'll catch you, let's see, Monday night, staying on the West Coast with Sacramento. Another late one. That's a 9 p.m. tip. But until then, signing out.